The ability to look and see what's in front of you is important.
I say, no, that's not going to work. Stop right now. It's not going to work. But then also, when something is worth persisting on, say, no, we're going to keep on going with this. And they'll go, no, it's good. We got this. Let's do it.
My marketing VP and I actually did this course about YouTube marketing from a doctor. Okay, so here's a doctor in England who's from India. So he's an Indian doctor, went to school in Oxford. But while he was going through medical school, he wanted to help people. So he was doing YouTube videos on how to use your iPad or your iPhone to take notes best in class. So he finally graduates. 3 years later, he graduates to get his degree. He's a medical doctor. But he's making $1 million a year on YouTube. And sometimes you go, why didn't we actually listen to this course? Because now we're doing a year and a half later what the guy said to do. And of course, our stats are rising steadily. And I'm going, we ignored YouTube for a year and a half. Now, we're doing great, but the thing is, it's how do we communicate to people what it is that we're really trying to do? It's like, for me, I have two hats. It's kind of funny. When I'm a poor kid from Michigan. Like people say millionaires. I said, oh yeah, those people have that nice life. I went to the Naval Academy because it was free.
Right.
Well, it wasn't really free. I had to give 5 years of my life after I graduated.
Yeah.
Which I did get paid during that time.
Yeah, sort of.
Not very much. But I got paid a lot of experience. Sometimes your pay comes in different forms.
Did you serve at sea?
Oh, I was on a submarine. I was chasing Russians in '85.
Nice.
And
Boomers.
I was chasing their boomers. I was chasing missile submarines. I was a fast attack. We were one of the quietest 2 submarines in the world at the time. So we had all this advanced technology. We were super quiet. And so we could sneak right up on everybody.
You didn't drop a wrench.
Well, I dropped a plotter one time, and the captain hit me in the back of the head with a clipboard. But I learned. One mistake. I learned. Don't make a lot of noise. You could hear stuff. It's amazing. The Russian submarines that were fast were so loud, we could hear them half an ocean away. You could hear them. And it was like, wow, this stuff is crazy. So, I did that, all excitement. I've had wild things happen at sea. You see, Hunt for October was awesome. Half of it's bullshit, but the other half is spot on.
Right.
Clancy was great at the emotional impact of what was going on with people. It was exactly how we felt. Yeah. All the nuclear technical stuff at that time wasn't not true.
But who cared?
It's the story, the emotion, right? I'm going, how does he know? Literally in 1985. And so when I got out, and I was working for other people, I started, especially, I got really good at sales because I really like people. If you really like people and you want to help people, you can be really good at sales because really you're not trying to flim-flam anybody. You're just saying, good, you need this, I got this. Now the question is, which one do you need? And people go, oh, I see. I always made it like it's a choice. If you have different choices.
You always.
I wouldn't sell people something they wouldn't need. And I have one of my favorite stories was this little lady. I was selling dry cleaning discount cards. Well, in order to do a dry cleaning discount card, you need to wear a suit. So I'm in a yuppie neighborhood, but I knock at the first door, and it's an 85-year-old lady. Well, I'm nice to people, so I'm talking to her about her kids and her dog and grandkids, and and I said, okay, look, I have to go to work. And I did pitch her, but because I automatically pitch everybody, but I was like, I got to go. It's great talking to you. She goes, no, I want to buy one. I said, I can't sell it to you. She goes, I want to buy one. And then I realized I was nice to her, so she's going to give me money in exchange for being nice to her. But I said, I could have honestly walked away. Yeah. And I said, but you don't do enough dry cleaning. I assumed. And she goes, I take a lot of dry cleaning. I said, define a lot. She goes, my kids gave me a blanket that I treasure, and I take it to the dry cleaner. I said, how often? She goes, every 4 years. Now, for an 80-year-old, every 4 years is a lot.
Right.
I said, well, there's 25 trips to the dry cleaner on here. That's going to take you another 100 years. I said, tell you what, you don't have any chocolate chip cookies, do you? She goes, I just baked some. This is Saturday morning. I said, can I have a cookie? So I went in, had a cookie and a glass of milk with her, and I'm thinking, in my mind, clock is ticking, you're losing money because you're not knocking on all the yuppies' doors.
Sure.
but I was and then finally I said, okay, I really got to go. She goes, okay, honey, thank you for your time. And I said, thank you for the cookies. I get out, go to the next door, and I go to knock, it opens. The door opens, which never happens in cold calling door to door. And the lady goes, hi, Jim. How do you know me? Oh, Hazel, next door, she called and said, you're coming. And I do a lot of dry cleaning. Seriously, I go every week. I go, okay, you need 2. She goes, I know, I need 2. So, and I said, but I got to explain the back. She goes, no, she explained the back. She explained all the qualifications. She goes, yeah. So she read it up. I said, okay. And I literally took money from every door in that neighborhood because she was the grandma of the neighborhood. And because I refused to sell her something she didn't need, she called everybody and said, you need it, guys. I know how much money you spent on dry cleaning. Best day I ever had. But it was also one of the best lessons I ever had. Because there's referral marketing too, where if you do a great job for somebody, and it can't be a mediocre job, I forget this famous guy, another speaker, says, you just don't suck, If you just don't suck, you'll do better than most people. But you won't get referrals.
No.
So, but if you can do better than expected, then people will tell their friends about you. That's a key.
And this is interesting because we have built a strategic relationship with this group called Philanthro Investors.
I know those guys.
Artie Marin, Ivan Ans.
Yeah.
And they did, of course, a real estate play, Equity and Help, which does great. And then they were looking for, strangely enough, something in water.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they had a very bad experience with a water company. Ivan one day, just by chance, ends up on my Zoom briefing, goes back to Artie and says, I ran into this guy. He's got a water company, and it looks perfect for us. It's totally in alignment. And Artie says, what's his name? I said, Riggs Eckelberry. He's like, I've known Riggs Eckelberry since 1968. What are you talking about? It was talk about like complete serendipity. Yeah. But the point of my story is we were so aligned that they literally opened up the door to all of their investors who'd done well with E&H, and they've since done well with us. And furthermore, they bring us onto podcasts that deliver wonderfully for us. So they really understand the concept of water on demand. They get it. And I think just like that grandma, she got you 100%, right?
Yeah.
Ivan and Artie got us. And as a result, Sky Logan, Wendy Rios, they're wonderful people. It's not easy to get. You didn't find that grandmother very often, did you?
No.
So it's not a scalable model. Like, we're glad we got Philanthro Investors, but we didn't get another one.
But the story also opens the door for other investors to
Yes.
come in and say, okay, if you did that for them, he's probably going to do it for me.
So true.
Yeah.
Yes, what's very, very important I've learned is do right by your investors.
Yeah.
Right? We've had to pay our dues for a long time to get where we are today. And normally, the angels would have been crammed long ago. It's the fate of an angel to be crammed. I don't even know why people are early investors in anything because it's a disaster. But we made very, very sure that those who were willing to stay with us and keep investing, that they were completely protected from all losses.
Wow.
As a result, these people are ahead, and they're now been investing in this NASDAQ play. And this is true of our partner Philanthro Investors. I have a rule to just be generous. Be generous. What are you being generous with anyway? For example, we have a restricted stock plan for all of our staff, right? Stock options, but you don't have to pay for them kind of thing.
Right.
So it's stock that gets liberated based on certain criteria, such as get on the NASDAQ. Okay. My sponsors, the original funders of the company said, well, just give it to yourself, Riggs. I go, no. Every single person in the company has some. And that's how I feel about it.
Right.
Because they're co-creating it with you, right? And if we're primarily an equity play, we have huge forecasts, but primarily it's a public company and it's about the stock.
Right.
Right? So there's an opportunity here. And we're now, talking with other people that I'm not going to mention right now because the deals aren't done. But we saw each other recently at such an event.
Yes, exactly.
And they're going to get a huge upside.
Right.
For helping us along. I think that you really brought up a very important point, is that if you display integrity, people will do anything for you.
Well, and the proof is in the pudding. One, yes, you said it's a 16-year overnight success, but you have people, you have a team that understands the vision and the goal, and that are willing to put in that blood, sweat, and tears to get you to the goal. You know, I have some of my key people have been with me for 25 years, and we're just a call center for selling electricity and natural gas. You know, but if you treat people, because when I was treated wrong as a sales manager or a salesperson, and I thought, when I have my company someday, I'm going to treat people the way I want to be treated. And you go, well, that's just a golden rule, but it works, and it builds a loyalty that you can't, you know, at the last minute say, well, here's some extra money to try to bribe someone and do something. It's like over and over again, you have to prove to your team that you're gonna go the extra mile for them too. And I know some people that are very selfish and they don't look at anybody else in the team, but you know, one, they're not as happy. Two, I'm a happy guy. I go to bed at night smiling because I know that I did the best.
Well, you got a wonderful wife too.
Well, yeah, it's yeah, thank you. That definitely helps.
No question about it.
That's a teamwork that you know. My wife and I started this company 26 years ago, together with an investor, and we had it. Thank God we had an investor.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like no matter what happens later, when you have that original investor, I'm always thankful that he was willing to put up the money for us to take an idea that I saw work somewhere else. It wasn't like water works.
Right.
You have a huge problem you're solving. Huge. That, for whatever reason, the government's kind of ignoring because they got other stuff to worry about. But when you have a problem, or if you have a workability and you can take that and just sometimes with a little bit of seed money, you can turn that into millions of dollars and a life. I mean, like a lot of my employees have literally said, Jim, this is the best part of my day.
Yeah.
You know,
scary.
So,
That's scary.
Which is scary because you got to have a whole life.
Yeah.
But one of my top guys is, you know, he literally leaves work and then goes and speaks at different, you know, volunteer functions. You know, goes to this whole, and he has his morning routine. He says, you know, I do my exercise in the morning. I come here, and he's one of my top producers and making a lot of money. He's already talking about buying a $150,000 boat, and he's like, I'm all excited. And I said, okay, you know, and he's been with me only for a year and a half, so he's kind of a newer guy. But he came in, joined the team, and you know, figured out how to make it work. And he says, I appreciate this opportunity you gave me. He goes, and I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna do everything I can. But
yeah, those are the
same thing as a good wife.
And same thing as, you know, my colleague Ken Berenger, who you spoke to earlier, you know, he's been around for many, many years in sales. And two things happened. Number one is we really needed him at the time. And he needed a good cause to forward.
Yeah, yeah.
So it worked both ways, right? He is energized by the fact that he's helping to create this breakthrough. And I'm grateful that he came along because, and the friend who referred us as well, because he came along at the right time. And Jim, this is a big lesson I learned, which is for many, many years, I was an only one. And I realized this relatively recently, that I had been sort of trying to be the Superman, which creates these huge upswings, then you crash because you run out of time, resources, et cetera, right?
There's only so much you can do by yourself.
Yeah. I remember the business I had in the 80s, which was computerizing companies for the first time, was a great business. But I was literally the guy specifying even down to the surge suppressor for these things. And I just got, God damn it, I'm done with this. And I gave the business away. And the guy then that I gave it to, Juan, he's made millions from that business.
Wow.
Because I was not thinking as a team player, right? So starting around 2018 is when I started attracting incredible people into my company, and that's when things really took off. Dan Early, the guru of pod systems, Ken Berenger, the co-creator of Water on Demand, Prasad Tar, who's our
he's amazing too.
CFO,
I know, he's a good friend of mine. Yeah.
Right? I mean, Tom Marchicello, our COO, all these people are like, you know, I can actually think, I can actually plan, I can actually strategize, I can have bright ideas, which is a function of a CEO. In addition to making sure that people don't do stupid things. Don't run into rocks.
Again, the ability to look and see what's in front of you is important.
And say, no, that's not going to work. Stop right now. It's not going to work. So, but then also, when something is worth persisting on, say, no, we're going to keep on going with this. And they'll go, no, no, it's good. We got this. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And, I'm a big fan of 18th century naval stories, the age of ships,
Yeah.
where it was all about this amazing competence. And it was, these ships were not powered by wind, they were powered by people.
Yeah.
Literally, every single thing was sweated. The determination of the captain was so key, and then if you manage to pull together good lieutenants and stuff like that, send them out on a cutting-out expedition, they go ashore and they take that fort, that's all based on a very strong intention, and to kind of blow through the problems that seemingly might be, oh, well, that's a no-go. No. It's just a barrier. We can blow through it. That's important too.
Yeah. No, you have to have a good leader with good vision, and you have to have someone who recognizes that with the team. When the team recognizes the vision, it's hard to stop, a group.
Yeah.
There's so much more. It's not 1 + 1 = 2.
No, it's geometric.
Geometric. It's amazing. So anyway, I love this idea. So as far as our company, because we've been doing business and commercial industrial sales for so long, we're waiting for you guys to ramp this thing up so we can start selling some pods for you.
Yes. So here's where we stand right now with Water on Demand, which is this investor-financed systems so that people don't have to put up capital. We have a first pilot project, which is mobile home parks. Because why? They're all the same.
Yep.
And it's a small...
Cookie cutter.
Exactly. It's a small application. It's 5,000 gallons per day, which in Texas is just below the heavy permitting. So it's a little Goldilocks area that's not heavily permitted. So you can throw them in, plug them in, permitting's nothing. And
then they meet the requirements for the local government.
they can just literally dump to the groundwater because it's treated, and everybody wins.
Wow.
And that's why I want this NASDAQ thing so important, because I want to build inventory.
Yeah.
Think about inventory of $200,000 or $500,000 systems, literally in the back lot. And they'll, oh, Mr. Mathers, you're ready? You would like to do a system? Yeah. Would you like it next week? I guess so. Well, goodbye competition, right?
Exactly.
So that's where we stand right now. We get that pilot done, which is going to happen this year, with all the caveats that I have to give. Then we're wide open. Let's do it.
Right.
As you pointed out, it's the most we've talked in ever, which is interesting, isn't it? So social media brought us together, and actually Kevin Harrington brought us together.
Yes, Kevin Harrington's awesome.
Yeah.
Boom America is a great platform.
I had so much fun that day being an expert. I was being an expert.
I'm on the A-team, baby. So we're A-team members with Kevin Harrington. I'm glad you were here today. Thank you very much for your time.
Such a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah,
We'll catch up for soon.
for sure.